Jesus Christ.
Yo.
So by the time this video goes up, we will have hit 500,000 subscribers,
Woo!
which is slightly more terrifying than all the other milestones we've so far done. And to celebrate, we are going to do a bunch of things because we couldn't decide on just one.
Yeah, we're indecisive, so we figured we'd do the kitchen sink approach and make a video about kitchen sinks.
Yeah, so we're going to be playing some God of War 3, a game I know very little about.
And I know everything about.
Yeah, we're going to be switching off, so you get to see my inferior gameplay skills. And we're going to be talking about the mythology and history and stuff that's actually involved to justify why we're playing this on the channel at all. And we're also going to be answering a few questions from Twitter because we also wanted to do a Q&A.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do like a whole Q&A.
So it's mild Q&A, mild mythology, mild gameplay, maximum excitement.
Yes, let's do this.
Let's see.
Spartan is easy.
Yeah,
mode?
that's a little insulting, honestly.
Wow.
They could have done like Athenian bitch for baby mode.
Rooted in the river of souls.
If you're wondering why they'd spend so much money developing such a detailed environment for just a cutscene, don't worry, we'll do that.
It's because we're going straight to Hades.
Yeah, we're going straight to hell.
Nice.
Might of the Olympians. He created
Is there a Wilhelm in this?
Yeah.
Yes.
a mountain that has come
Shadow of
to
Colossus
be
bird.
the absolute
We're in the totally wrong
measure
game.
of
Agno!
Oh God! No!
The mortal Kratos seeks to destroy all that I have wrought.
I mean, yeah, we were immortal, but we've murdered a lot of gods by this point.
Olympus would be that way.
Tough talk for the
Whoa.
opening monologue by the antagonist.
Who's the spiky dude?
That's Poseidon.
Oh my fucking God.
Who else? Zeus, Hades.
That's Hades?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah, I do not like the character design for Hades on this one.
This is totally why they don't invite Hades to all the fancy Olympian dinner parties. Hey!
Your son has returned. I bring the destruction of Olympus.
Oh no!
Yeah. I always thought that was one of the worst delivered pieces of dialogue in the entire game.
Hey! Bring the destruction of Olympus.
Yeah, okay,
discuss
let's
it.
attempt to put this together.
So this is kind of... Ooh, I am digging new Aquaman beside me. Anyway, this is kind of a bastardization of this story called the Gigantomachy?
Gigantomachy, yeah.
Yeah, the Gigantomachy. It's this story where basically there's this prophecy that the giants, which aren't the Titans, the giants were created by Gaia to take down the gods because she was mad that they killed all their children. So there's this prophecy that the giants, oh god, were going to attack Olympus and the gods would fall unless they were helped by a mortal. Or a demi-mortal, as it turns out, because Hercules counted. So basically the gods grab Hercules and then he helps them repel the giants, which are climbing Olympus. Hercules isn't here, and instead the demigod is Kratos, and he's on the wrong side of the fight, or the fun side, depending on your perspective. And that's the mythological precedent for this mess.
I hate Poseidon.
That what? Oh, okay, with the horse.
It's
That's
a giant horse
actually-
monster. It's actually is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
because
actually
you usually
really
don't
cool.
get the whole Poseidon's the god of horses thing. That usually doesn't find its way into the stories.
What was that myth? He like makes horses out of sea foam to impress Athena or something? Or like they're having a competition.
Close. So the story of the naming of Athens was that Poseidon and Athena were competing to get the will of the people to name the city after them. So Poseidon stuck his trident into the ground, and a spring of salt water shot forth, which was cool, but the people said, we can't do anything with this because we don't drink salt water, dumbass. And then Athena stuck her spear into the ground or whatever, and then an olive tree showed up. And they said, this is way more useful, we're going to do this.
He's making a lot of martinis.
Yeah. Which kind of makes sense because the whole Athenian economy was entirely based on olive growth, so yeah.
But there was definitely something about Poseidon making horses out of sea foam.
I buy it. Yeah, this game is a lot of just pressing the square button over and over again.
Ooh, that's my kind of thing.
It's definitely not as shiny and nuanced as the new one.
Oh no.
Gaia.
Gaia?
Yeah.
That's
Gaia.
Kratos hates chains. What?
Oh
Who's
yeah.
that?
You got wings in the last game, I think. I forgot. Yeah, you also have the Golden Fleece. I really forget
What's
a
with all
lot
those
of the
damn
backstory.
falling off of things sequences in God of War 4 then?
I don't know. He left a lot of his stuff in Greece. He couldn't check the bags. Basic backstory of God of War is Spartan general guy Kratos is losing a fight, and he pledges himself to Ares in exchange for destroying his enemies, and Ares says, "Alright, here are some blades of chaos, now serve me forever." But then at one point Kratos gets reckless and he ends up accidentally killing his family somehow,
I just disintegrate.
because the Hercules parallels are infinite.
Yeah.
So then he gets really mad, wants the suffering to end. God of War 1 is Athena saying, "Hey, you need to kill Ares." Oh shit.
Oh no! It's back for revenge. Oh god, it just straight up chest burst.
They just yoinked the chest burster sequence.
God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and then God of War 2 is you're a god because you killed Ares.
But then it turns out the divinity was inside you all along, because Zeus was your dad the whole time.
Zeus was your dad the whole time. What happens is he gives you this sword to fight your enemies for you, and you have to pour all of your god powers into it, and then Zeus says, "Wow, you're a dumbass," and kills you with it. And then you have to go to the Fates to reverse time to before you did the dumbest thing imaginable. And then you fight Zeus, and you try to kill him, but you can't, and you accidentally kill Athena instead. So in God of War 2, you enlist the help of the Titans, and now you're taking the party to Olympus with this.
Do centaurs have two hearts?
I don't know.
They've got two rib cages. So Kratos' whole character is basically, what if Hercules were really, really edgy and a Spartan?
What if Hercules were even more of a dick?
Although my dad pointed out that if Hercules were a Spartan, he kind of wouldn't notice that Spartans were super, like, hardcore, bad training, because they'd be like, oh, this baby's perfect, let's not throw off a cliff, let's just put him through grueling training.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to be super strong. And Hercules is like, wouldn't you know it? I am. Why do I feel like I'm gonna have to blow that up?
Not yet.
Come, Kratos. Do the thing we can interact with. So am I jumping at that?
Yeah. And then...
Maybe if I mess this up enough times, I'll be able to relate to Kratos' level of world-destroying rage. Yay! Why does Gaia have zombies in her body?
That was my question.
This is embarrassing. Ow. Okay, Blue didn't see that, so it didn't happen. Let's try this again.
Oh, hey, you're back at full health. I
Yeah.
bet that's because you did such a great job of fighting Poseidon.
You know it. God of War, motherfucker.
So Poseidon's kind of an interesting character on account of having a lot of different qualities associated with him. Because God of the Sea is the one that we most think of now, but there's the horse stuff. He used to have some underworld connotations, right? What's up with that?
So Poseidon has always been the god of earthquakes as well as the sea. Not entirely sure why. I guess they just conflated those. Would you stop? Thank you.
Maybe because earthquakes were accompanied by tsunamis.
Did that happen in Greece?
Well, actually, Crete is on a fault line. So I've seen some stuff about the Minotaur actually being just like the concept of earthquakes, because the earliest versions of the myth wasn't that there was a bull monster, but that underneath the island of Crete, stuff would get like all rumbly and things, and just ended up morphing into the Minotaur myth with time. But
That's interesting. Hey, stop that.
so Greece would have been no stranger to seismic
Thanks.
activity.
Okay, yep. Here, I'll let you do this one. We don't know a whole lot about the Mycenaean version of Poseidon. I've been told I'm pronouncing Mycenaean wrong.
Here's the thing. Mycenaean is the anglicized version of it, but if you're being correct, Mycenaean is actually
Ha!
it.
Take that, YouTube comments. Right, so the Mycenaean version of Poseidon, we don't know a whole lot about, because we don't know a whole lot about any of the Mycenaean gods, but from what we can tell, he was a very powerful god, and he was probably the primary god, and he was worshipped less as a god of the sea and more as a god of the underworld, and specifically, I think he was the god of one of the rivers that flows through the underworld. Yes,
sense.
do it.
The death of Olympus means the death of us all. Then prepare for your death, Poseidon.
It's not the best at quippy one-liners.
Oh no, he was full of jam.
And here's why it's a bad idea to kill Olympian gods. Just right here. Bink.
Oh, okay.
So pretty much the entire Greek world is flooded now.
Did I do that?
Basically everyone died.
Damn.
literally everyone. Oh no, my actions almost had consequences for me.
There is no Greek myth where the gods die, but there is a strong... Oh, I have this theme. I've used it occasionally.
Yeah, it's good.
But there is the strong implication that it probably will happen eventually, because Kronos kills Uranus and then Zeus kills Kronos. There's this really strong theme in Greek mythology overall of divine sons killing and supplanting their fathers, which is funny because they also play that up in God of War 4,
Yeah.
that Kratos is really sick of that happening.
They do a good job of keeping the mythological themes going, even if they switch around some of the actual events.
This is our war, not yours.
Well, that's not the right thing to say, Kratos.
Not the kind of thing, that's how you make enemies. So Olympus is tall here, but Mount Olympus in Greece is actually a very easily climbable mountain in real life.
I have been denied release.
Gross. Anyway, so Kratos killing Zeus fits the mythological precedent set, and actually Zeus kind of knows about that, which is why occasionally he's paranoid about getting killed by the next generation of god-like entities.
Maybe he should stop banging so many people.
You know, you'd think that would be the first conclusion he comes to, but no, every time he's like, oh man, I'm destined to be murdered by a son. Hey, you know what I should have? Another son!
Oh, it's a book. I'll be able to go back.
Boring. Reading. I'd rather die. Oh
this
no!
Athenian nerd shit.
So Athena's wildly out of character in all of these games, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, horribly.
Yeah. Although her characterization is also a little funky in the mythology, because she and Ares kind of serve complementary roles. Ares, it was a joke when I put it in the Dionysus video, but Ares really is the god of dumb war, and Athena is the god of smart war. So he loses all the time, and she usually wins. Ares basically exists to be constantly humiliated. So the fact that he dies in game 1, pretty appropriate.
Yeah.
Ares almost always exists to just ruin stuff. But Athena is usually there to help heroes. That's basically her main shtick. That Zeus creates heroes, and Athena guides and helps heroes. And it's not just her. Sometimes Hermes does the same thing. So the fact that her role in the games is to initially guide and help...
I thought I still had the wings. I don't know why I thought that.
Oh no, he's double dead. Anyway.
Yeah, wait a minute.
The fact
Hermes.
that Athena's initial role in the game is to guide and help Kratos fits her in-universe characterization pretty well. It's only in this one where she kind of turns evil that she starts going off the rails. And I read about this in the wiki, because when I was watching God of War 4, I was trying to figure out, hey, why is Athena so mean? That doesn't make any sense. And apparently there was this thing about, like, her getting infected by Pandora's box, or the evil.
Yeah, the late game plot of this game, I don't like. I really don't like the Pandora's box nonsense.
And of course, this is not Hades. This is very, very wrong.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Just everything about this. I mean, clearly they're evoking like a more Christian vision of hell, and that you've got your fire and such. It does not evoke the Greek vision of Hades, which is, you know, it's basically one afterlife fits all. There's a place for everybody. You've got the fields of Asphodel, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that where the heroes go, or is that where all the boring people go? I forget.
No, Elysian Fields are the heroes.
Right. So basically, this is not a God of War problem. Oh, is your health permanently depleted?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, you got mega nerfed.
Right. So.
Wait, I do have the wings.
So you just took a nosedive off a cliff for no reason? Whoa, Leonidas. Long time
The
no see.
shields are upside down, though.
Maybe
the
because
arrows
you're
are
dropping them from orbit.
Well, I mean, yeah, they really should be triangle pointing upwards, because that's how the lambda works. That's an easy detail. They should have got that one.
So God of War is not the only game to turn Hades into hell. It's just a very easy thing to do. Creepy. The modern conceit of the afterlife is basically the Christian kind of duality of heaven and hell. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Why does it take so many kicks?
Because you're super nerfed, man.
Alright, that's good game design.
Awkward. Because Hades is the underworld, and its most common role is where bad people go when they die in mythology. People conflate it with the bad place rather than the good place. No worries. And they do this by, in addition, making Hades, Lord of the Underworld, a lot closer to Satan, or again, the Christian conceit of Satan, not the older, just adversary version.
They're waiting in line.
Well, that's nice of them.
Oi.
Ah, right in my Spartan booty. Stop it.
Oi.
Stop it. It's like a Three Stooges routine.
Oh.
Hey, it's Pirithous.
Cool.
He didn't put a comma in that.
No.
Clearly not good enough for Persephone. But yeah, so that was Pirithous, the guy that I talked about as the idiot who tries to kidnap Persephone and gets tortured in hell forever.
And on the subject of the the Spartan thingy with the arrows, it really is annoying for me that they flipped it, because the importance of that whole oh gosh.
What the hell?
Yeah, Gorgons.
So that's the Medusa?
Just a Gorgon. You kill
Okay.
Medusa in the first game.
Oh, so one of the sisters.
Yeah. Well, no, just a regular Gorgon.
Oh.
Because you kill another one of the sisters in the second game.
You are in Hades, though. Maybe this is just the dead one.
Maybe. The letters are important because the Spartans fought with an army that included non-Spartans. So I can't actually remember which way they did it, if everyone had the Lacedaemonia symbol, the L, for the Spartans' actual homeland, because I don't think they really would have called it Sparta back in the day. They would have called it Lacedaemon. I think it was only the Spartans that had it, though. It was basically the most terrifying thing you could see on a shield, is a Spartan
One boys from Sparta.
L.
Someone wants to know if you could save the collective works of only one Roman historian or writer bloke from a fire. Whose would it be and why?
False. I would not save anything Roman because the Romans didn't write anything important except for the Aeneid, but we have that.
Damn.
I would probably... There are a lot of Sophocles plays that I would like to see. Because we have, 7,
I think that's right.
and there were, 7D. So if I could save anything, I would save the plays of Sophocles.
To this eternal torture.
Your fault.
Prison of Tinder.
For trying to date beyond my means. This is another thing they ripped straight from Hercules's, or Heracles's, feats, because this is
Honey,
really...
you mean Huncules.
Oh, okay. So Hercules frees Theseus, but when he goes to free Pirithous, Hades is like, nah, Theseus just enabled that a-hole. Pirithous tried to marry my wife, and Heracles is like, understandable,
Keep the flames away.
and keeps him stuck there. So it makes sense that Pirithous would still be here.
I have my problems with Euripides on account of I don't like his Trojan plays. Because that's where he makes Odysseus the, complete bad guy, and Agamemnon is just fine and dandy, which is, yes, Odysseus can be the bad guy in a lot of scenarios, but there is none where Agamemnon is the, unequivocal good guy.
That's something I really like about Greek heroes in general, because Greek heroes are not heroes, not what we think of as heroes. They're great people that do great things, but great is just in terms of big. So Odysseus, I really like Odysseus, but everyone thought he was super sneaky because he was super smart and didn't just punch things all the time. Someplace you've never been and would love to go visit. Oh, totally New Zealand. Just, I don't know. I would just camp out in those mountains and never leave. Is Persephone ever in these games?
Yes, she's in one of the PSP games.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's a bad guy. She tries to destroy everything and everyone. So again, wildly out of character.
Yeah. Almost none of the Greek gods were, actually destroyers, I guess, if that makes sense. Most of the Olympians were actively supporting society in one way or another. Persephone existed in a way that supported the spring and summer, fall and winter cycle.
Hey, buddy. Oh, Apollo.
How did Pirithous get that?
No precedent for that, is there?
Apollo having a bow, there's precedent for. Pirithous having Apollo's bow, no.
Okay.
Unless there's some second myth about him I've never heard of. Anyway, yeah, Greek mythology was not one to have gods that were actively malevolent towards anybody. They would have, titans and stuff, but even they didn't really care about humans much. Actually, if anything, Zeus really didn't like humans that much early on, but he got there. In ancient Egypt, they had a Pep or Apophis that they prayed against when he tried to end the world every night. But Greek mythology did not super go for that stuff, so. Oh, great. Anyway, what was that?
So our recording cut out a little bit, but that's awkward.
Well, now you're not the only one who did that.
Yeah. The question was from Bumbling Bucket of Bolts, Red and Blue. If you could make your own monster movie set in a historical period, what would it be and how would it go? I love this question. I think they're about one school of thought on this is you can kind of go for like a Victorian horror type vibe, which is fine, but the correct answer is what you do is you have Greece, Egypt, and Persia, and you have a Pacific Rim style battle royale where all three of them are using their biggest monsters to fight each other. And that's the correct answer.
Honestly, I think the mythology that lends itself best to like classic monster concepts is just totally Japan. There's just so much crap there. So much really scary
Oh
damage.
yeah. This is a question from Charlie. How can I convince my friends and relatives that classics is actually a perfectly viable degree and not a surefire way to end up unemployed in a gutter somewhere?
Yeesh.
That's honestly a pretty valid question.
Kind of depends on who your family is, though.
It depends on your family.
Oh, no!
Let's get through this first.
I don't wanna. These guys have living statue written all over them.
Yep.
Come on. Oh, right. I hate this game.
The way that I convinced my parents / mostly my mother that a classics degree wasn't a one-way ticket to unemployment is that basically if you're working hard and actually putting effort into your classes, oh my god, you're just murdering humans.
They said
Yikes.
lost souls.
Yeah.
Far be it from me to argue. Ow!
Basically, you'll walk out of college having learned history, language, philosophy, archaeology, anthropology, art history, literature, religion, politics, and a crapload more, because classics is a very wide field with a lot of stuff you can do in it. That itself sets you up for all kind of jobs in academia, writing, museum studies, and stuff like that. But just beyond that, you'll have worked really hard at teaching yourself how to think and how to analyze and problem solve much more than you might with a conventional, here's a major that will teach you everything about, the field of economics. Learn from great thinkers. It's a major of thinking, basically.
Yes,
So,
and that is actually a very useful thing to have. It's basically best for you if you learn the skills to critically think through stuff so that you don't just buy into what other people are selling. No, any major that teaches you critical thinking is a good idea. So.
yeah. And even if you're not in a major that teaches you critical thinking, learn some critical thinking.
Yes, yeah.
But also, if you look at stuff for like the top 5 majors for pre-law, classics and philosophy are consistently in the top 3, if not top 5. So it's not the barren professional wasteland that you might think. There's actually a lot of merit. And I mean, if you take classics as here's a major I can just learn about Greece and not work too hard and then be fine, then you're gonna have a bad time because you're not working hard. But if you actually go into it with good faith, you'll be able to. Oh dear, you'll be able to die just like Kratos.
It's fine. I got this.
You'll be set.
They really hung up on the Hades is damnation thing.
Yeah, what was that about? Greek hell being Christian hell?
Yeah.
Another more life skillsy question is
shoot, I got it.
from Sleeping Till 2, what advice would you give to make reading some of the classics more enjoyable to those of us who have trouble with them? That's a good question because oh, you're so close.
Dang it! Again? Okay, fine. Anyway, reading some of the classics more enjoyable.
What I thought of was, it might sound silly, but honestly, try reading them out loud, because a lot of these things were written to be read out loud and listened to rather than to be read in your head. So if stuff isn't making sense just kind of silently on the page, it might be worth looking at it or listening to it from a new perspective. But also, what else did I say here? It helps to try and figure out in your head beforehand what a story is doing, if that makes sense. So like with the Aeneid, it makes a lot more sense if you understand like what the background with the Odyssey and the Iliad and the kind of meta story with it is going into it. So a lot of good editions of books nowadays have introductions beforehand, like your Penguin Classics, your Oxford Classics. They all have really well-written introductions to all of these books that will give you a really solid overview in like 20 or 30 pages of like what's going on. And it may seem like a chore, like, oh, I don't need to read the introduction, but honestly, it's there to make reading it easier. So I've found they can be super helpful for just understanding why the words that are on the page are the way they're there.
I think the main thing that I've found is extra helpful is read something so you can explain it to somebody. And for this, my little brother is really useful because I'll be like, oh, this book I'm reading is so lame. And he'll be like, what's it about? And then 15 minutes later, I'll be like, wow, I actually know a lot about this book. No, just I found the act of explaining something to somebody else. Okay, here we go. Seriously helps your own understanding of that something. Useful. It's not easy to get through something that just is not trying to hold your attention. So you really do need to kind of develop coping mechanisms, and the one that I found that works the best is read so that you can summarize. There's a strong reason why I do so many summaries, and part of it is if I have to know enough about something to give a concise breakdown of what that something is, I basically know enough about that thing. Who do you want in Smash Ultimate?
Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot. I will not be satisfied.
I want Kratos. Ooh, this one's about imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Do either of you guys struggle with imposter syndrome every once in a while? And if so, how do you deal with it? Lou's a little busy, so I'll just do this one for now. Yeah, to put it lightly, yes, constantly, all the time. I don't know, I think it manifests differently in everybody, but the basic structure is very, kind of a universal experience, which is everything you do that's good, you feel like you got lucky, and everything you do that's bad, you feel like is proving who you really are.
Oh, shit. What the?
Whoa! Did you get turned to stone?
In midair, so I died.
Damn, that's rough.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're never supposed to jump in Gorgon fights because you're only gonna get.
That is a clever kill. I actually kind of like that. It's pretty devious because it's kind of self-sustaining because when you're when you're in that mindset, you can't really get out of it very easily because people will be like, "No, you do good work," and you're like, "Ah, that just means I've tricked you," you know? Well, you're only saying that because you don't know how
garbage
really
I am on the inside.
Exactly, yeah. The way that imposter syndrome mostly manifests is you feel like you're tricking everybody into thinking you're a lot smarter or more talented or whatever than you really are. Compliments hold no meaning because they're coming from people who you've obviously tricked, and insults are gospel because they've seen through to the real you, the garbage person you know you are. There are probably cleverer ways of dealing with it than I have, but it's just, you can take some pride in your work while also acknowledging that it can always improve.
Yeah.
And I think once you acknowledge that, most of the ammunition that imposter syndrome has kind of goes away, because it's like someone saying, hey, this art needs work is not someone saying, ha, see, you're terrible. It's someone saying, hey, I found a way this can be improved, and you being like, oh, hey, cool, I didn't see that way, or I would have done it, or whatever. And the understanding that not everything is a value judgment of you. Like, you can do something without it reflecting on your worth as a human being. And I think that's a big part of it. Like, you can do bad art and be like, oh, bummer, I did bad art. But, you know, that doesn't mean you are a person who makes bad art. It means you made bad art one time. You can always improve. Is your reward another boss fight?
No.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully.
By the gods of Olympus and order of Zeus, we are the three judges. Face your final judgment, mortal.
I, Judge Judy.
King
I am not
Aegeus has
immortal.
found you wanting. King Rhadamanthus has found you worthy. It falls to me, King Minos, to make the final decision. Your future is cloaked
Wait.
in shadow.
Okay.
The realm of the afterlife is not yet ready for you. Beyond that door waits your destiny.
I feel like there's some legitness to these guys being judges in the afterlife. But I don't remember if it's from Greek mythology or from the Divine Comedy.
Oh.
You can have things you consider flaws without it invalidating your worth as a human being. And I think that is kind of central to not having to deal with imposter syndrome 24/7 anymore.
Basically, the way that I deal with imposter syndrome is not. I don't have as well thought out a rationale behind it, but to me, if I was really a fraud, I feel like people would have figured it out by now. I don't think I'm smart enough to fool anyone about it, so. But also, on the other side of that, I don't have any positive opinion of a video I've made more than 6 months ago at any given time. That's how it works.
That is one of the weird things about imposter syndrome. It tells you, like, you're the worst. You're just a really good liar. Probably the best. And you're like, oh, how shameful. But it's like, no, man. If you can fool everybody in your life, like everybody, that's impressive. You should probably be proud of that for some reason. But yeah, it is the unfortunate truth of art that if you're making any improvement at all of your older art will start looking inexcusably bad after a while. Let's see, you can sit down and have a chat with anyone, living or dead. Who would it be and why?
My first thought was Socrates because I hate myself, and I want to experience that pain firsthand, but also the new Assassin's Creed is coming out in like 3 months, and I'll get to do literally exactly that, and I am so hyped.
Do you have any advice on how to maintain internet friendships or ones where you don't see each other often? It's a little tricky because,
It is.
friendships of all stripes are honestly a little bit tricky because, like, there's always a degree of distance just because, you know somebody, but everyone has complexities that aren't... Oop.
Each one right from wrong. All who get too near him suffer or die. His wife, his child, his brother, and now me. Failed him as a mother, as a human being. His sins are mine to bear. Punishment for redemption.
Wow, that's very God of War 4. Who said that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, so, like, even in-person friendships can be weird. Like, I know a lot of people who noticed that, like, once they left high school, the number of people they considered friends from high school dropped from, like, 50 to, like, 5, a handful. It's because there are people who are friends with just because you see them every day. And when you leave, you're like, meh, I don't really need to keep this person in my life. And it's an uncomfortable thought, but, like, it's just kind of how it goes. People who you're around for very long, you just sort of bond with. So, ironically, with an internet friendship, there's already a slight leg up because, like, you're keeping in contact with this person, or you're in contact with this person for a reason, not just because, you're in the same place and humans pack bond. Because college is over and people are sort of peeling off. There's an increasing number of friendships I have to maintain online, and it's, or like visit a few times a year. And I think the biggest part about maintaining it as a friendship rather than just like, we are acquaintances and I will occasionally send you funny pictures of cats, is just being, like, honest with each other. Because I think we live in a slightly emotionally constipated society where people really don't like being like, hey, person, you matter to me. We'll be like, hey, I saw this cat picture. Take it.
Vulnerability feels icky, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think this is true with relationships of all stripes, because even people will be like, oh, I don't want to open myself up to this person. What if they don't like me? What if they don't want to date me anymore? Whatever. There's all kinds of weird junk. But, like, it's especially weird with friendships because we've got this weird idea that, like, friendships can only get so close before they turn into something else. And I think that's nonsense. I think you can have a friendship that's pretty much arbitrarily emotionally close. I don't know. I've got weird ideas about this stuff. But, I think a really big part about maintaining a friendship like that kind of long distance is just being open about how you want to maintain that kind of friendship long distance.
Oh, okay. He could have saved me. He held my life in his hand and still let it go. I may have been just a mere boat captain, but he treated me as if I was nothing. Yeah, he is to blame for my torment here. I hope he suffers in Hades as I have. Damn, that goes to Sparta. So that's from the first minutes of the first God of War. There's this boat captain who's stuck in the throat of a hydra, and you need a key from his neck. So you, like, pick him up, grab the key, and just drop him down. And then he shows up a bunch of other times in that game and then in God of War 2. So it's just a running gag. And even in God of War 4, there's a note that he leaves. That's like the running gag of the boat captain that Kratos just keeps ruining.
Murdering?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's super messed up. Anyway, yeah, I think in order to maintain a long distance friendship that like still feels legit, it's really important that you just kind of say that, you know. Like I messaged a friend of mine like, hey, I've been kind of socially awkward for the past couple months, but I want to let you know that even though you've moved to another city, I still want to be really close friends with you because I really like you, and it's going to be important to me that you stay in my life. And she was like, oh my god, sweet. I think as with any relationship, friendship beyond, it's important that, like, the most important thing is just being super legit about what you're feeling and what that person is feeling and what you both want from the situation and all that jazz.
Looking at things from an Aristotelian perspective, here you've been playing for a while.
All right.
There's really three kinds of friendships that you can have. There are friendships that are born from utility, where someone is useful to have around in some capacity, which is kind of shitty, but that's how life is. There are friends who are enjoyable, where you just like their company and you hang out, and it's kind of like, you know, a lot of high school friendships where it's just like, or even college friendships too sometimes.
Oh,
where
fantastic.
It's like, you know, this is a person who, you know, tells jokes that I like, or, you know, is a friend in a club that I'm a part of. And a lot of those kinds of friends will pad out the number of acquaintances a person has, which is how you get like 50 friends. But really, when you kind of trim the numbers down and look at, you know, who you can rely on in a situation where you really are in need, or, you know, whose back you would have in a pinch, those are really never more than like 5 or 10 people. I feel. Aristotle says you get like 2 or 3 per lifetime.
That's dumb. Aristotle didn't have enough friends.
Aristotle needed more friends. It's okay to have a handful of really good friends, as opposed to, you know, a giant pile of people who you hang out with that, you know, are fun. With maintaining online friendships, Red and I have been at different colleges for 4 years, and we've still, you know, kept in contact basically almost every day.
Yep.
Just talking about, like, not even before we were doing video stuff for the channel, just talking about, you know, classes and stuff and how things are, and sharing, you know, love of types of media and shows and junk. So it's, I mean, it requires work, but a lot of things require work that are important. So I think if you just put in the effort and let people know that you care, I think that's most of it right there.
I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
I have no idea where you're supposed to go. Redbone asks, if you guys were going to make a state, what kind of government would it have, what would it be called, and what cultures would it get its influences from? For a while, I've had an idea for a fantasy called America Respects Its Principles of the Constitution and actually gives a shit about treating people fairly. It's a long shot, I know. But for my real fake answer, one time my Turkish roommate and I dreamt up an idea for, oh god. Use your Spartan soldier dudes, R2.
Oh, right. Oh, shoot. Stop it. Bad touch. Get out of here. No likey.
We dreamt up an idea for the west coast of Turkey, the more Eurocentric part, breaking off and joining Greece to make a fully Aegean Sea-bound nation, and it looks amazing, but it will never happen in a million years.
Yeah, I don't know. My ideal state is like me as an isolated shepherd in the mountains of New Zealand.
With how many dogs?
14.
Last time
Possibly
it was
more.
17.
So, dude, shall we chat? What's the haps?
Oh, press circle to say hi.
I know what the circle button does, but you know what? Sure. What's up, friend? See ya. You'll never catch me. I'm too fast.
Just take a nice picture. Greetings from scenic Tartarus. I actually really don't know how to do that.
I'm so stuck. That's what I get for mashing too hard. Wow, that is amazingly frustrating. I'll just Google how to get out of photo mode in God of War 3.
While we're doing that,
Yeah.
what is Tin asks, what book do you think is very underrated and deserves more recognition? I have a really good answer for this because I thought about this last night when I was doing all these questions. There's a book called The Conference of the Birds. Which, have you heard of The Conference of the Birds?
It sounds really familiar.
Okay, yeah. So it's a medieval Persian story from the kind of Sufist brand of mystic Islam. That's in a lot of ways a lot like Journey to the West because it's a big allegory for enlightenment. But it's all of these birds that are going on a journey, not necessarily westward. But it's really well done. It's really fantastic. It's not actually terribly long too, which is good. But it's a little piece of the Islamic Golden Age that you can kind of take with you and enjoy by yourself, because there's a lot of great stuff that came out of the late Middle Ages in the Islamic world that we don't often...
Try the start button.
Start button. There's no start button.
Uh-oh.
There's an options button.
Oh, no. Wait. Try maybe the options button? Hang on.
Nope. But yeah, Conference of the Birds gets my hearty
Censored
recommendation
button?
for the...
Hang on. Left half of the touchpad goes into photo mode. Right side goes to options. Ha!
Oh,
Ha-ha!
that's dumb.
Oh, yeah, if you don't mind.
That's
Yikes.
bad game design.
Yeah.
That-
I feel
yeah,
like there are
that's-
too many controls.
They
in
need
this
to at
game.
least tell you how to get out.
Yeah. Wait, did you already kill him?
I have paid
No.
the price.
Calm yourself, Smith.
I'm not here to murder you for another 5 minutes.
Ghost of...
Good lord.
It is you. Well. I thought Zeus would have killed you by now.
Where do you think
you
I
forget
am,
where we
dumbass? Exactly. If I recall correctly, that leads up to Aphrodite's room.
Ah, I wonder what happens there. Why is she in Hades?
No, it's a teleporter.
Oh, okay. So you can just teleport out of hell whenever you want?
Later, yes, but you
Right.
can't get up that ledge yet.
Gotcha. So yeah, Hephaestus being in Hades is wildly unprecedented,
Yeah,
but I
that's
assume
another
there's a
thing.
reason in-game.
I feel like it's just the fire connection, and because this game backtracks a lot.
I like how some of the Olympians are really big and some of them are people-sized.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is the most difficult video you've ever made? I think just for sheer inexperience at the time, for me it was probably the Define comedy videos. And to be honest, I'm not like super happy with how those turned out, like writing-wise. They're just a little bit... They're very verbatim. Like there's no analysis of the weirdness of the story. It's just like, hey, this story sure is weird, am I right? And I was a little lazy, and there were just so many complicated set pieces to draw that it was just like visually really complicated. And I wasn't very good at drawing for videos yet, so
That was like the third video you drew.
yeah, because it was the Iliad, the Odyssey, and then all 3 Divine Comedy videos, and those were just really hard, and just didn't turn out super good. So yeah, for me it's probably that.
I'm not sure about what the hardest video is for me, because bonk, yikes.
Yeesh.
Oh wait, darn it. Because there are a lot of videos that I have resolved to go back and remake on account of not being very good, like my Rome series. After graduating with a degree in classics, I thought, I can do better than this. So I have, and I'll continue making Rome videos for the next, like, year and a half at this rate, because there's a lot to cover. Les Mis. That was hell on earth.
Oh, drawing tablets are not intuitive.
Yeah, I got another one to play around with like a week ago. I tried it one day and it wasn't working for me, so I've put it away. I'll pick it up in a couple weeks after I get back from Maine.
Yeah, good call. It's I don't know, like drawing on its own is already hard enough, but with drawing tablet there's the added difficulty that where you're looking is not where you're drawing. 'Cause you have to look at the screen, but you have to draw on the tablet, which is down here, and you can get a tablet with a screen in it, but those are always like $300 plus, and
Yeah,
it's just,
ludicrously
there's just
expensive.
no point. Is there any historical figure and or author you think is given too much credit or attention?
Ooh.
Was Aristotle the guy who claimed that women had fewer teeth than men and everyone believed him for like 500 years? Because if so, fuck that guy. Definitely him.
Aristotle's a mixed bag. His ethics are really good. He did a really good job with like the practical philosophy of like it's important to live a good life and like do stuff that matters and be a good person. His science, his politics, his pretty much everything else is a mess.
How do I get in here? If only I was incredibly strong or something.
Long Legs with a Mind asks any advice for aspiring animators.
The camera angles in this game are so bad. Is there something here?
When you animate, use good camera angles.
Yes, please. Well, unfortunately, I can't say anything about like the getting into the professional side of things because I haven't done that, and I have no idea how it works. But there's a ton of really good books about it, written by like the people who like animated Looney Tunes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, there's a ton of books about it. There's some stuff by like Osamu Tezuka, who did Astro Boy, which was one of the really classic anime. And that it's very surreal and not super good. But that's fine, you know.
Hades is just watching Kratos like grab on, let go, move around, grab on, let go.
Hades is like, a capable warrior indeed.
I can see why Zeus was so taken with you.
Just as dumb as your old man. Now, Hades! Okay.
Hey Kratos, do you want me to come down and help out? It looks like you can shut up.
Silence,
I am the
Hades.
god of war.
I bring the destruction of Olympus. Anyway, so there are now an increasingly large number of like very affordable animation programs you can play around with, especially if you're doing like 2D cell animation, which is the way that I think is God, Kratos. Okay, which is I think the way to go. It gives you a lot of freedom of movement that is otherwise, like when you flash animate or use something else with bones, there's only so distorted you can really make the figure, and that kind of limits the amount of mobility you can put in, and that's just kind of a bummer. So I think it tends to be a better idea to basically just do it the old-fashioned way. Cell animation lets you do all kinds of stretching and squishing and fun stuff like that. And when I was starting out trying to learn how to animate, there was basically nothing available. It was just like you could either shell out several $100s for something, or you could just never do it. And if you wanted to maybe pursue it as a hobby, which is what I was interested in, I was like, there's no way I'm going to spend a huge amount of money for something I might not even use. So, but now like Clip Studio, which is the program I use, has like a keyframe animation feature that I just don't use that much. I used it once in the Perseus video and basically haven't touched it since, but it's there to play with, and it's very versatile. So, honestly, I would suggest just basically messing around on your own time, and then once you've been doing that, you can see if you actually want to pursue it as a, career. It's one of those things you can do as a career. It's just kind of what?
Oh, that's Persephone, I think.
What is happening? What is this?
I think you murdered her.
I did? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's why he hates you. You killed Persephone.
Oh, actually, Sarah asked favorite embarrassing stories about each other.
Ooh.
I have one.
Oh, no.
So let me take you back to a simpler time. It was the year before, the summer before Red and my senior year of high school. And for a school trip, we all went to Yosemite National Park in San Francisco. And
awesome.
It was amazing. It was us and our friends and two hilarious teachers, a bio teacher and an earth science teacher.
What did I do that was embarrassing? I'm worried I can't predict this story.
And what happened was, it was a great time. There are a lot of fun stories that I'm sure Red can elaborate on.
Okay, no, I know where I'm
No,
going
you know
with this.
exactly where this is going.
No.
So what happened was, come on, in you go. So what happened was we were coming back. Trip was over, and we were in the San Francisco airport. And what happened was our flight got inexplicably delayed for like 5 hours because the crew, why am I here? Okay.
I've cunningly trapped you in this cage, Kratos. Good luck progressing from here.
Okay.
Anyway.
Because the crew was stuck in the LA airport, or stuck in LA traffic. And what happened was we needed to just find, okay, whatever. We needed to find a way to entertain ourselves for 4 hours, so we just went to the food court in the San Francisco airport, and not this, oh my god.
And we basically spent the whole week like hiking around and like climbing on rocks and all that stuff, and it was really fun. And we were up on, very high altitude sometimes. We actually ran a little experiment to see how far we could sprint, because we were up on top of a mountain, but we were like, oh, we don't really feel the oxygen deprivation, this is fine. Let's see how long it takes us to run from here to there, and it was exhausting. It was really impressive how bad it was. Anyway, so we spent a week, and then we came back, and basically we plopped down in the San Fran airport and waited for our flight. Initially, we were like really on a time crunch. It was like, okay, you got 15 minutes, get in, get through security, we're screwed if we're late. Spartan Jamal. What ended up happening is, because we'd been basically at a high altitude exercising pretty much constantly from the hiking and eating pretty much only just to sustain ourselves. None of us have been eating sugar, like, all week.
At all.
At
like,
all.
Nothing.
And the thing is, this wasn't super bad for other people, but I eat sugar pretty much 24/7. I'm not ashamed of this fact. What is the point of living if you don't feel alive? So I bought a Snapple. You know, a normal iced tea. And it got me drunk.
The pictures are magnificent.
The pictures will never be shown on this channel. Thank
Never,
you very
of course
much.
not. But oh man,
Yeah, I was pretty loopy, and it was extremely embarrassing after the fact.
so yeah, that's Red telling the embarrassing story about Red because I'm too frustrated with this fucking puzzle. Ugh. The fun thing about the airport was just we were all so shocked because we were trying to think of like, was there anything in that Snapple? Did something go wrong?
It
Is
was
Red okay?
just
But it
sugar.
was just straight sugar.
Just the sugar, because I'd spent a whole week just hiking mountains and so close.
Yeah. Okay.
All kinds
Suspicions
of fun stuff.
confirmed.
Yeah. And I was checking the ingredients. It's like, nope, it's tea, and caffeine has no effect on me. And it's just a lot of processed sugar, which I've had exactly none this week, and that was it. That was all it took. I remember there was a pretty embarrassing game of Ninja you played with Max one time.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Yay.
Oh yeah, there was the time that we all played Ninja at homecoming instead of dancing and then didn't hear the end of it for a year.
Oh, that was fine.
That was fun though.
I mostly remember there was a game of Ninja where it came down to like you and Max, and he just kind of started kicking your ass, like for real.
You just started slapping me.
I was like,
Oh yeah,
"Wow."
we were playing outside
We
and
were
everyone in
playing
the
outside.
library had a perfect view
Yeah.
of us being dumbasses.
Yep, we all got taken out, and we were just like, oh, cool, it's down to these two, and they both have like martial arts training, so this should be pretty funny. And it was just like, you'd make a play to slap in his hand, and he would just like whack you in the side. And I was like, is he even playing
He
Ninja?
was just hitting me.
Pretty rude. Joke's on you, my family's already dead.
Now, Red, what's your take on this version of Hades? Because it's kind of a mess.
Words cannot describe how much I hate it. He looks and sounds like Trigon from Teen Titans. I feel like he's designed to look like a butchery mass murderer.
Yeah. Which
He's-
is
not...
He's got like the Leatherface vibe and the meat hook weapons.
Yeah.
And it's just... Look, it's not like God of War made up this version of Hades. He's even got the horns. He's very clearly kind of... gross. Kind of Satan-y looking. Oh,
Yeah, they're running with-
ew. Are you just fighting this little hockey puck made of his pec?
Yeah.
That's really weird. Yeah, so they're leaning into this weird Hellraiser version of Hades.
Oh, fun fact, Clancy Brown.
Oh, I knew he sounded familiar.
I mean, I get that God of War is trying to like go the most brutalist direction possible, but I just, ugh.
There are more brutalist ways to do hate. I mean, hell, you could even make Hades the one kind of understated god who's just
Yeah.
quietly furious at you for killing his wife. Like, I could see you doing a cool kind of creepily chill
Cold Fury.
Cold Fury. Yeah, totally. It would work very well. And the thing is, like, Hades, he's Lord of the Dead, but he's not supposed to be very, like, physically powerful.
No.
He doesn't have to be. He does his job. He never has to fight anybody.
Yeah.
So you could totally do kind of like, well, like a lot of urban fantasy versions will kind of make Hades like a businessman. You could totally
Yeah.
do that. Like, he's kind of just cold and chill and kind of skinny and not very physically intimidating. And he's just Lord of the Dead. He doesn't
Yeah.
need to sass you. Oh, that's
Wow.
really, really gross. Why would they do that?
Yeah, because I recall having heard that in a lot of versions, Hades didn't even want to be God of the Dead.
Yes.
He got kind of shoved in there by bad luck.
Well, bad luck and Zeus messing with him. Basically, there's a... I don't know how reliable it is, but there's a version of the myth where after Zeus killed Kronos and freed his siblings, they divvied up the world. And it was basically someone would get the sky, someone would get the sea, and someone would get the underworld, which isn't just the dead, it's also like all the riches of the earth. There's a reason why Hades is supposed to be so wealthy. He has literally all the precious metals and stones in the earth. And basically, the version I heard was that they brought it down to like luck of the draw, but Zeus rigged it or something, so he won. Got the sky, which was the coolest thing, and then Poseidon got the second coolest thing, which was the ocean, and Hades got the underworld, which sucked because he had to stay underground all the time, and it was no fun, I guess. I don't know. They definitely give the impression that it's not super fun in the underworld, and that's part of the reason why Hades goes after Persephone, because he's like, wow, she's like everything great about sunlight and warmth. I gotta have me some of that. And again, that myth is a little questionable and has a lot of different interpretations. Oop, awkward. But the one constant is Hades is almost never the bad guy. Hades as eager supervillain is an interpretation that just comes straight from the, cackling, hand-rubbing, snidely whiplash version of Satan that, it's a Christianity exclusive. Yeah, Hades basically has the misfortune of being a Satan analog in name only, basically.
Yeah.
Nasty. So he always gets all satanified. I mean, this one had horns and red skin. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
So now you've unleashed all of the dead onto the world. So everyone is dead because we flooded everything. And now all the dead are back because there's no one keeping the underworld in check. So we've already pretty much ruined everything in 2 strokes.
Nice.
Why do they put a gate on Helheim, boy? Because people were dying to get in.
Aww.
That dad joke video was the best ever. All right, do you want to get some food?
Yes. We recorded the boss fight with Hades, and we think the PS4 lost it.
Because I may have accidentally pushed the wrong button to save it and started a new clip which overwrote the old one, so...
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
Whoops.
so...
The bottom line is that God of War's version of Hades is basically...
just Satan.
Discount Satan with spikes and horns and red skin and bullshit. Whereas the actual Hades was much more chill and didn't actually want to be the king of the underworld. He just kind of got stuck with it.
Shafted into it, yep.
Yeah. We can now swim out of the underworld.
Woohoo! It's super hot outside, by the way. This
It
isn't just
is
for show.
ridiculously hot outside.
The god of the underworld is dead.
Ironic, right?
Dead? Hades deserved to suffer, though I thought his death impossible.
Olympians overestimate themselves.
Not me, though. I'm gonna live forever.
I'm
That's
sure
too
it's
big.
broken, otherwise I would have seen my beautiful...
Awkward.
You know, Kratos, I wasn't always like this. A monster.
What about big?
I was once the most prized.
Yeah, he definitely
person in
cannot fit through that
all
gate.
Olympus. Zeus rewarded me with my marriage to the beautiful Aphrodite.
Hell yeah.
My mother, Hera, bragged of my talent. But the day you killed Ares was the day my world was torn from me.
What?
That day, Zeus became the fiend you now know. Worst of all, he took my beloved daughter, Pandora,
Oh, it's his daughter?
my reason
guess he-
for living.
Made her. How's the Pandora myth go?
I
Okay,
forgot.
there's a lot wrong with what he just
tried
said.
to recreate her.
Oh, Jesus.
I failed again and
Yikes.
again. She
Is
still
Pandora
lives,
like
but
a human?
I can feel it.
In this game?
Yes.
Yeah-ish.
Okay.
She's super alive.
You,
Okay, because there's a
Kratos,
lot to unpack here. I'm gonna wait till he's
you
finished.
can bring her back to me.
Your child is not my concern.
But surely you can understand. You were once a father, too.
Don't make me boss by you. Alright. So, yeah, Hephaestus was never pretty in all the myths. He's post like crippling by being thrown off of Olympus. He's not rewarded for his craftsmanship by being married to Aphrodite. I think that just happens. It is canonical that Aphrodite does not spend very much time with him at all, though. In most of mythology, she's sleeping around with Ares, and there's at least one myth where Hephaestus weaves a golden net to trap her in, so that her affair will be exposed and everyone will laugh at her, and it totally works, and it's hilarious, apparently. The reason why I asked if Pandora is a human is because Hephaestus, in some of his myths, has actually made, like, bronze automaton Like, he
Oh, okay.
makes, like, humanoid robots, basically, and people have been like, wow, that's crazy. So the fact that he's saying, like, oh, I try and recreate her over and over again is like, well, that's not too crazy if Pandora's already an automaton, and that's what he means by her being his daughter. Even then, it wouldn't be accurate. Pandora is nowhere near Hephaestus' daughter. Pandora is created by all of the gods. Although Hephaestus does play a major role in her creation, he sculpts her out of clay. And then all the other gods give her gifts. So, from a certain point of view, I guess. But most of what he said was crazy wrong. Also, I don't think he's supposed to be really, really big. That part's
Yeah,
weird.
they play with scale a lot in these games, weirdly. Now, I've heard various things about what the name Pandora actually means, because the Greek for pan meaning all, Dora meaning gift, means all gifts. Is that because the box contains all gifts, or she was given all of the gifts, or is it both?
I've heard the second interpretation.
Okay.
That her name is Pandora because she was given all the gifts of the gods. My video about this is more eloquent because I actually knew everything I was talking about then, but she was basically gifted a huge amount of stuff from all the gods. She was made beautiful, she was made very intelligent, cunning, and stuff. So basically, the whole package. That's actually a much better interpretation of what her name means. It's not all
The whole
gifts,
package.
it's the whole package. Okay, what are those wings from?
Icarus. You get them in the second game.
And I feel like they shouldn't have lasted this long.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the singing. I'm really curious about that.
Huh.
Because my guess would be Orpheus. But it sounds like a woman's voice,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Is Orpheus a singer?
Musician in general.
Zeus will die.
He would have died in the last game if someone hadn't gotten in the way of my knife.
City of Olympia. Oh gosh, okay, I'm supposed to know this. Olympia is on the coast of Peloponnese. No!
Should you?
That's pretty cool.
Can I lend you a hand,
The
Gaia?
shields are backwards! Okay, I don't know if it'll give me a view, but Olympia would not have had a giant spire on the side of it like it does in this game.
I want to see Kratos in Age of Mythology.
Oh my gosh. I want to play Age of Mythology so badly. It's such a great game.
I miss their terrible chunky graphics.
Chunky's a good word for those graphics.
Is it Ajax with the lions?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Tower shield.
The entire time I've played... Oh, okay, they're not attacking you.
I wish the statues actually attacked.
Whatever. The entire time I was playing that game, I assumed Ajax just had really long, luxurious hair. I'm still disappointed that it's just a lion pelt. Because I was like, oh yeah, this is a protagonist I can get behind.
Representation matters.
Yeah, fucking finally!
Later, dork.
Yeet! I feel like Atreus finding this game, it would be like finding out your parent used to do like porn or something and finding that. He's like, it's not what it looks like, boy. I was in a much angrier state 24/7. Anyway, yeah, I don't actually think most of the Titans had much in the way of explicit elemental connections.
Yeah, they really lean into that here, but I don't recall that.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure Gaia is like not a Titan exactly. I think she's of the previous class.
Okay.
Like Gaia, Uranus, you know, then.
I thought they were also Titans.
I think they
Or are
might
they
be-
like primordials?
I think it's primordials. I think that's the word that got used for them, with the Titans being their children. And then Kronos, with Gaia's help, kills Uranus and castrates him with his sickle, which she makes him. And some say that those testicles, when thrown into the ocean, created Aphrodite,
Oh,
which she
right.
never ever talks about. Gaia and Uranus, their union created the Titans, and then Kronos.
That's right. I remember
Yeah.
hearing about Gaia and Uranus as the parents of the Titans.
Yeah.
But usually, I guess that treats them as Titans themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think most people just use Titans to refer to the generation that wasn't the gods, but
Yeah.
like... yeah. And again, that's another thing where the theme of
Ouch.
sons killing fathers is really big in there, but there's also the fact that Gaia kind of helps out every time. Like, she's not just like, oh, I'll protect him, he's my kid. She's like, oh, fuck him, he's my husband, whatever. I don't remember if Gaia is at all privy to Zeus killing Kronos. I think she might help out a little bit. Some of Gaia's children are the Hecatonkere and the, gross.
Yep.
The Cyclops is in the Hecatonkere, and,
He shows up in one of the other Gods of War. He's in Ascension, the shitty prequel.
the Hecatonkere?
Yep.
Oh, cool. But I don't remember which generation it was, but basically one of them was like, Gaia was like, my ugly children have been imprisoned and that sucks, and they're like, that does suck, we'll let him out. And then, didn't. She got mad. So Kratos cast himself from the highest peak.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, God.
Oh, okay. I was wondering when this would show up.
That's a good reveal. And what the hell is that?
Chimera.
Oh, very nice.
This is my favorite enemy in the game.
And pretty classic,
And
pretty
it's
true to its design.
criminally underutilized. Yeah, okay. So,
Oh no, you give the ram a concussion. Oh,
cut out the snake tail. So, that first phase was the snake, actually. I was wrong.
who's yelling? Oh, is it the Titan?
Now it's the lion.
Oh, and now it's clawing at you. That's so clever.
Yep.
That's good design.
This is the best enemy in the game. And you only fight like 3 of them. It's BS.
Because when I designed the Chimera
Wait.
from Bellerophon video, I
Right.
remember I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's a lioness. So I didn't give her a mane.
Oh, yeah.
But, of course, maned lions look way more impressive, so most of the Chimera designs use that. But, I remember that being a thing.
So I literally got rid of the lion face, so now it's just going to be in ram mode.
Does he breathe fire? He does! Okay, good. It's totally the right one.
And you can see it's jumping around like a goat, too.
Exactly.
It's such good design.
And it's neat that it gave it 2 faces. That's pretty
Yeah.
clever, actually. I've never seen that. There are a lot of monsters that exist in Greek mythology to be defeated with cleverness
Yeah.
rather than brute force. The Chimera is one. The Hydra is probably the really big one.
Yeah.
But I wonder
Oh,
how
gosh.
much of it is
Boom.
allegorical. Ooh.
Oh.
Ah, gross. I gotta wonder how much of it is like allegorical. Jesus. 'Cause sometimes it feels almost like Journey to the West, where you're like, this character is strong enough that shouldn't they just be able to like rip this person in half?
Yeah.
But you know, you get like the Hydra, where it's like, okay, Heracles can't cut off its heads, but can't he just like bear hug it until it dies? But no, the answer is cauterize the neck wounds, because that's the only way. And I wonder if it's an allegory for something I
Haha,
don't
get
get.
fucked.
Oh God.
Phew.
No, don't
You
kill
finally
him.
find that mosquito.
You know, it's really fucked up that they decided to make Megara the love interest in the Hercules movie, considering she's the one that dies. Hercules had 4 wives, and they picked the only one he kills.
Oh.
They could have had him marrying that goddess he marries later.
Who?
Hebe, I think, the goddess of youth. She's the one he marries when he ascends to godhood after his wife, husband murderer, accidentally murders him, Deianira. Anyway, yes.
Question from James Sweeney, which, by the way, is a wonderful YouTube channel that does some fantastic animations.
Oh.
You should check it out. Suibhne, Sweeney.
Ah, the Gaelic.
Yeah, Gaelic. What's your guys' national cultural heritage? Half Greek, half Scottish.
Okay, is my only choice to murder this guy?
Yes.
Sorry, fella. You shouldn't have gotten in my way.
He didn't have to bash his head in. He could have just pushed him aside.
I could have. I'm
But-
like 3 times bigger than him. I could have been like, "Excuse me," and just gone around. It would have been way.
He went out of his way to cause that man harm.
Kratos, you a-hole. No wonder nobody likes you. Anyway, what were you talking about?
I'm half Greek, half Scottish.
Oh, are we discussing?
National
Okay.
background.
Let's see. So yeah, basically, mom's side is mostly English, Scottish, etc. Dad's side, Polish, Jewish, etc. Aubrey asks, go to D&D character racing class. You still haven't played D&D, have you?
Not really.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to.
Yeah. I've played a few games. My default class is pretty much always Ranger or Rogue. Sometimes I'm multi-class. and I usually play some version of an elf. Although the first game of D&D I ever played was run by my dad, and he let me play a half celestial.
Oh my god.
It was awesome. I
that's
was like
so
functionally 4 levels
Jesus.
higher than I could be. I kept getting like paladin abilities every level. It was fantastic. It ended up not mattering because the world kind of exploded session 3, and then the whole thing was a weird multiverse realm. But
Oh god,
it
I
was
hate
fun
this.
while it.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh no.
Nasty.
Oh, that makes me deeply uncomfortable.
That's a really big eyeball too.
Yeah.
That part alone is kind of creepy.
And the first console I got was a PS2. Oh, shut up.
Oh, he flashbanged you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Press
Oh my
L2
God, put
to
some
talk
hand
to the
sign.
hand. Did you fucking put out the sun? Way to go, dipshit. No, it's Crispin Freeman.
Crispin Freeman.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I'm just so used to Phil Lamar voicing everybody.
Yeah, so
Let's count. Everyone died and the world is flooded.
Yep.
The dead are unleashed, and now the sun's gone.
But it's not like even normal gone. They just covered it in clouds. What are you most excited about with graduation?
Personal freedom is nice.
Yeah.
My schedule is whatever I want it to be now, which is pretty great.
That is also, yeah. My answer's pretty boring. It's basically the same thing. I just really like being able to like do things I
finally.
want when I want, go places I want when I want. The lack of homework is a definite plus.
Oh, that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, like you don't know how much it wears you down until you don't have it anymore, and you're like, wow, I'm almost too bored with free time. And then you start like making projects for yourself, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm doing so much, and it's really fun. And it's weird how draining it is when you have something else you want to be working on. Because sometimes you're like, I'm bored, I may as well do homework. But sometimes you're out. Sometimes you're like, oh man, there's this thing I really want to do, but there's this other thing I have to do, or there's this really long project that I have to try to work on today, because if I don't, I'll definitely not finish it in time, and it's just so not fun. Oh, the Path of Eos, that's cool. And also weird, because the sun is dead. Because Eos is, I believe, the dawn. So...
Whoops.
Yeah, I feel like she's out of a job. She's like, she shows up in God of War 17, she's like, Kratos, you left me unemployed. Now I work as a barista. You'll pay. Anyway.
Because even if we have jobs, like, we work, and then when we're done working, that's it.
Yep.
We're done. It's not like we have a bunch of other shit to do. It's just, it's so much better.
Next question is, who's influenced your life the most, sans parents?
Ooh.
I think my great aunt. Great aunt? I don't know. I've never met her, obviously. But she was this like world traveling reporter, explorer. I don't know. She was really cool. My mom.
Oh yeah, your
was
great aunt was Nathan Drake. That's right.
Basically,
you told me
my
this.
great aunt was basically Nathan Drake, and once I learned that was a possible career path, I was like, yes, please. Oh, yes, and Cyan popped us a question.
Oh yes.
The question goes, we're having a civil war. We each get to pick one historical army and one mythological hero, demigod or lesser,
So not god tier, because that's just OP.
to accompany us. And who do we get? And Sun Wukong is not allowed.
Sun Wukong is quintuple immortal.
Wukong is still only a hero. He's not even a god.
You can do pre-immortality Wukong if you want to go that route.
He's still pretty tough pre-immortality. For the army, I called dibs on Sparta, because best
Pretty good.
thing I could think of at this point.
Yeah. Incorrect, however. The correct answer was Rome.
Oh, dang.
Because Rome has way more people. And also their army is way better equipped.
Yeah, but Sparta is better at losing with style, you know?
Oh yeah, if you want to go out with a bang, go Spartan.
Yeah.
That's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah.
But if you want to win, go Rome.
I'm assuming this is coming down to a single, single combat fight in the middle of everything.
Yeah, probably. I think it really depends on the heroes, though.
I cannot help.
But you're the only one who can. I know it. I trust you.
You're the protagonist.
Why do you trust me?
You should.
Yeah.
I feel like Hercules is too easy, but
Yeah.
he's really strong and good at war, so that's a good sign.
I'd probably go Achilles.
Oh no! I changed my mind. Odysseus. Master
Ooh.
strategist.
Yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
good. Odysseus leading an army of Spartans in their heyday.
Yeah.
That's good. Good odds.
He's also got my favorite epithet, Old Knife.
That's
Fina
pretty cool.
calls him that sometimes, and it's so fond and yet
Yeah.
so cutting. Anyway, someone asked, Nicholas Bove, I think that's right, asked, this is a broader question, but how do you think deities, heroes, other from different pantheons would interact with each other? Like, would Wukong and Thor go on epic quests together? Would Isis and Artemis girlfriends? I don't know, maybe. And who would Hades and Persephone go on double dates with?
I feel like I can see Hades and Persephone going on double dates with Isis and Osiris. Because they're an item, right?
Yeah, and they're another underworld themed kind of thing. Because Osiris is king of the dead after getting killed and reformed.
Because I feel like Isis and Persephone would be like, oh yeah, I wasn't born here either. I just kind of, moved into the neighborhood.
Oh, for the underworld.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they would have like really cute coffee dates.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wukong and Thor, I feel like they wouldn't get along.
No, they would
Especially
clash.
not Myth Thor, because mythology Thor. Well, here's the problem. Picture, if you will, Thor running into an animal-themed hero who shapeshifts constantly and defeats his opponents through trickery and cunning. No, he's murdering him. He's convinced he's Loki.
He's dead.
Well, he's trying to murder him. He's probably just going to be really frustrated when it turns out Wukong is stronger than him. And would Isis and Artemis girlfriends? I mean, Artemis in mythology shows no inclination of being into anybody but Orion, and that was one time. So, sadly, I believe Isis and Artemis not girlfriends.
Damn it.
But,
Not to that, to dying.
yeah, of course.
I feel like Artemis in a sixth sense of, like, the word would be the ultimate wing woman.
Yeah. If she even understood that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I can see two ways. Either kind of like fun, sassy, mostly ace friend,
Yeah.
or completely unaware of anything you're talking about. You're like, hey, Artemis,
Yeah.
can you put in a good word for me? And she'll be like, okay. She fights with great honor. You're like, oh, fuck.
Like Artemis would be talking someone up at the bar, and then later he'd be like, "Thanks, Artemis, so much. That was great. We had a lot of fun." Wait, you banged? That's what this was about?
Renegade Pizza Guy asks, what's my favorite silly moment in mythology, and what's your favorite silly moment from history? Let's see. What silly moment from mythology? There's a chapter in Journey to the West we haven't gotten to yet, where the boys drink from a river that turns out to make people pregnant.
Oh
They'll
god.
get pregnant.
What?
Yeah. Haven't gotten there yet, but it's pretty crazy.
Oh god, Sun Wukong would be a terrible pregnant mother.
He would be the most... He would either be wildly irresponsible or incredibly needy, or maybe both. He's like, guys, it's fine. It's that booze that makes you immortal. That can't possibly hurt the baby. Someone asked what our favorite YouTube channels are. Killing Experience.
Killing Experience
Yeah.
is fantastic. It's the best, probably the best gameplay channel out there. The humor is just...
So off the wall, and yet it works so well.
It's
In the same vein of like humor I don't understand, but I really like. Bill Wirt's history of, history of Japan, history of the entire world, I guess. Just really fun. And gameplay channels like the Grumps, always good. I've been watching the two best friends play recently. When we're recording this, they just finished their playthrough of Detroit Become Human, where unfortunately they managed to get one of the worst possible endings. So that was kind of fun.
There's also, I really like Man-at-Arms Reforged.
Yeah.
Adam Savage's one-day builds are fun. I'm trying to think what else I've been watching.
College Humor is pretty good.
College Humor's been really funny lately. Adam Ruins Everything. I know it's more of a show than a YouTube channel, but
Yeah.
still really great.
Oh, read the needle. Hey, it's our buddy the lava guy.
Also, other
What's
great
cracking,
history
Big
channels. Wow, look at him.
Whoa, why is he mad at us?
Hey, asshole, look, I'm trying to do my thing here.
Why are we killing him? Ah, why is it always the eye?
Good history channels. Shadiversity is great.
Yeah,
James
we
Sweeney
love
is
him.
great.
Oh, Hello Future Me.
Hello Future Me.
Super fun.
Really good.
Very charming New Zealand accent, too.
Yes.
Is it rude to call an accent charming? I don't actually know.
Um,
Do we have a charming Midwest accent?
no.
Dang. Sometimes my brain kind of goes to some weird hybridization of like Manhattan and Boston because my dad was born in Manhattan and my mom was born in Cambridge. Not Boston, she insists. But,
it's the same.
Yeah, well.
They use the same airport. It's Cambridge is Boston.
Well, you know. But of course, this means that within me is the potential for the two most crazy, obnoxious accents on the entire continental U.S. I'm trying to think what the stuff I've been watching recently is. Mostly music, actually.
Yeah, Todd in the Shadows. You've been watching a lot of him.
Todd in the Shadows. He's really fun. And Lindsay Ellis, the former nostalgia chick. Really good for, like, interesting analysis of just
not this again.
most things. Movies, characters throughout the ages, musicals. She has some really funny, like, 40-minute long video essays where she appears to get progressively drunker the farther the video goes. So she's really fun. And she had this really interesting 3-part series about The Hobbit that came out recently. I guess it was made of styrofoam. It came out recently-ish, which talks about, like, why the movies were iffy and, like, what a clusterfuck their creation was and all that. And also the crazy bad effects they've had on, like, the New Zealand actors' equity. So, I don't know, she's just really good. And, like, reaches a level of depth and complexity of analysis that I can only hope to match someday. So, would recommend.
Oh, because science. It's pop culture takes on science, basically the best thing we have, the best second run-up to Mythbusters that exists nowadays. Kyle Hill is a gem, and he's very special. Oh, Nandovu Movies has some great video essays on movies.
Oh yeah, Every Frame of Painting has stopped making stuff.
Every Frame of Painting has stopped, but he's inspired so many others. No, it's just I guess you just died.
I jumped over the edge. My bad.
Okay. There's also Tearzu, which have you watched any Tearzu?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. I found it a while ago when it was on Reddit, and he's gotten huge. He's totally eclipsed us. But Tearzu basically talks about like biodiversity in animal life as
exciting.
if it's a video game. So he talks about like which builds are the best to use in different servers and like what's the current meta. So like for instance, cheetahs are F tier garbage builds, whereas jaguars are like the best kind of cat that you can go for. So he talks about all the different things and like it's really impressive. He knows a lot and he shows it off very well, and it's all packaged in a fun video gamey way.
That is delightful. So what exactly is happening here?
I don't know. I've repressed all of this.
Oh.
Kratos, what the fuck are you doing? Well, that's just amazing.
I am the god of angular momentum.
Spider-Man. Where am I supposed to be jumping off?
Up to the top of the box.
But why is it in a weird... Oh, God.
You just flung yourself full force into a cube.
Oh God.
Gosh. A question that no one asked on Twitter, but everyone's been asking me in the comments of my videos is, what do you think about Assassin's Creed Odyssey? So to everyone who's been commenting on all of my videos for the past 2 weeks, good question. I'm very excited for it. It's basically The Witcher 3. And honestly, that's okay because it's the goddamn Peloponnesian War, and that is a setting that I've been waiting for basically like 5 years at this point. So the world itself will be more than worth the price of the game for me because I feel like there's a lot they can do historically just to show off how cool this world is, and to show that there's more to Greece than just Athens, because there is, and it'd be nice to see the rest of it. So
Yeah.
I am.
This is blatant Spartan erasure.
Very. So yes, I'm very hyped, and I'll be making all the videos on Earth when this game comes out. It's so annoying that I'm just trying to kill every god on Mount Olympus, and people are getting in my way!
No, I'm just trying to kill Zeus, thank you. Just the one god. What the hell just happened?
It's not like I'm unleashing horrible plagues on all of humanity.
Look, if they didn't want their respective vital components of nature to be destroyed, they shouldn't have tried to kill me. It's simple physics, thank you.
Oh, question I didn't answer earlier. Favorite silly moment from history?
Yeah.
Without a doubt, the dumbest thing with the most momentous consequences that has ever happened in history, in my opinion, is when, in 371, after Athens had lost the Peloponnesian War, Sparta had become the dominant power in Europe,
I have a video on this. It's called Thebes' Greatest Accomplishment Ever. Sparta was the dominant power. Thebes and some other people, Athens, Argos, Corinth, fought a war to tell Sparta to fuck off and go home. And then what happened was there was this other war that wasn't really very important, but at the peace conference, Thebes basically wanted to amend one tiny article of the peace deal to make themselves look nicer, just a small technicality to kind of give them a little extra pomp. And Sparta said no, and Thebes said, well, we want to, and Sparta said, well, you should have thought about that earlier. And then what happened? Oh, oi, no. Ass back here. And then Thebes fought a war against Sparta and won. They beat the Spartans, which never happens.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
And because of that, because they threw a hissy fit at a peace conference and got their way and won a land battle against Sparta, they were the dominant power in Greece for a decade, and then were like the top 2 or 3 big shots throughout the rest of the century until Philip of Macedon came around, which is why. Oh yeah, okay. Which is why he had such an easy time cleaning up the Greeks, because there was no real strong power, because Thebes kind of wrecked any chance of that. So, one hissy fit has crazy consequences for the rest of Greek history, because maybe if they did, maybe they didn't, Alexander wouldn't have been able to inherit this perfectly pre-conquered empire for himself, so who knows? Really dumb, but really momentous too.
Someone's asking you for good book recommendations on the relationship between Greece and Macedonia.
Oh, I have none.
Okay, well, we tried.
Good history book recommendations in general, though. I just finished reading Stacy Schiff's Cleopatra, which is a very good look at her character, trying to dispel a lot of the BS that's crept its way into our understanding of her character. Very good book, that is. But Greece and Macedonia, no idea. Don't ask me about the name dispute. I stopped caring.
Catherine Lamey wants to know, did you ever run into a classmate or professor who was a fan of OSP? And if so, how did those conversations go?
You first.
Yeah, I've run into a few people at like conventions who I didn't know who were fans of the channel, but I think second year, my roommate told me about this secondhand that she was hanging out in like the common room with a new first year who was talking about this channel she really liked.
Oh gosh.
And my roommate was like, hang on. And yeah, it totally turned out that she was into my channel. And it made dining hall conversations very interesting with this person for a little while.
I'm not sure about professors really, because I don't think professors watch YouTube channels all that much. I mean, maybe I can be proven wrong, but at least the ones that I'm familiar with, not so much.
Apparently our stuff gets shown in classes a lot. So.
Apparently,
Yeah.
but none of my institutions.
Yeah.
So, oh wait, I can fight. Oh, okay. Holy crap, this is great. But the department that I was part of in my college, classics and otherwise, a lot of people from that ended up knowing who I was because I did some videos actually that were used for various study purposes. And 2 heads off. Boom. Yikes, that's gory.
But probably the best story is when I first started dating my girlfriend, as in when we went on one lunch meal that she didn't realize was a date until afterwards. She went back home for spring break and then talked to one of her friends who said, hey, there's this really cool channel that you would like, because they were part of a mythology club in high school. Oh yeah. Get back here, you son of a bitch! Oh dear, oh dear, oh no, okay. I'm sorry. And then my girlfriend, now Cyan, said, oh yeah, so I just went on a date with that kid, and it was happy ever after. So apparently she backstalked my Facebook to actually confirm whether or not it was me, and then pretended to be really surprised when I told her that I had a YouTube channel.
Aww. That's devious, I like it. Oh yeah, Hunger Games with all the Olympic gods.
Yes.
Who wins? They can be either Greek or Roman form, because yeah, some of them are better as Roman.
From Too Many Damn Owls, aka the friend who existed.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Zeus would be too busy trying to bang his fellow competitors to actually be good at the game.
Either that or Zeus.
Oh. Okay.
Hey.
Look who it is! Kratos, the ghost of Sparta.
Kratos.
Fallen god. The cursed mortal.
To catch a flop from the ass of Zeus is not worth my time.
A coward's words, Kratos. You don't try to catch me because you know you can't.
Oh, silly Barry.
Kratos, where are you off to today? Kill any family members lately? Oh, that's right. You're off to kill your father, Zeus.
He knows you're technically related to him, right?
Yeah.
So.
Won't happen. Can't happen. Kratos is on a fool's errand. Again.
I just murdered like 3 gods in the past 5 hours.
Never change. Kratos the fool who killed his own blood. Kratos the fool among mortals and gods. Forever ever cursed.
He's so
forever
mad.
ever doomed. Consumed by vengeance to his last breath. The Spartan likes the way to dusty death.
I can't wait to murder him.
Hermes, not the god of poetry, apparently.
No.
So Zeus goes out really early because, like he tries in the Iliad, he's too busy going like, I am the king among the gods, and you must all obey me, and everyone's like, nah. So they murder him.
I feel like Artemis would do really well.
Yeah. I feel like she'd basically like camp out in a tree and just snipe people.
Yup.
And you'd think Apollo would be in the same boat, but Apollo is always way too busy prioritizing other stuff over actually getting anything done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so knowing Apollo, what is most likely to happen to him is he falls in love with one of the other competitors, and then they die in his arms. Or run off a cliff to avoid him. 50-50. I feel like Hera would do surprisingly well, given that she's a non-combat deity.
Yeah.
Ooh, pretty.
That's a flame in Pandora's box.
Actually, Hera killing Zeus early on seems not unlikely.
She'd just take the excuse.
Just take the excuse, yeah. I'm gonna call Dionysus his final winner just because he's my boy.
Is there any precedent for there being a labyrinth of blocks inside Mount Olympus?
Nope, but there is precedent for there being a labyrinth in Greek mythology.
Yep. Oh yeah, I remember how that goes. It is they who control the great chain and determine its release.
I'm guessing you're breaking it later.
Yeah. Gear of Burden.
Great sacrifice? Are you killing Pandora to do it? God damn it, really? How many families, Kratos?
You ask why I hate the Pandora B-plot of this game. It's sort of Olympus. Somewhere there's a mural in this game that has the 3 wise men of all people on it.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
That's
their first,
awkward.
like, leaning into other mythologies, dealio.
God of War 13, Kratos murders Jesus.
Oh, no.
No. But then he comes back, because that's his deal.
It's chill.
Kratos is Roman enough to do it.
To contain these evils, Zeus commissioned Hephaestus to build a vessel strong enough to hold them.
None of this has myth precedent, by the way.
Yeah.
Just in
I
case
didn't
anyone
think
was
so.
wondering.
Hate. He
Hey,
lost it all away in
boy,
the
sorry I
in
threw you
hopes
off the
that
mountain.
he would never again
I'm
infect
sorry. Hate doesn't exist in this world? How does Kratos
his way. When
function?
you opened the
Yeah.
Flame is deadly. How can I recover the box?
with its namesake Kratos.
Huck a girl in there, it'll be great.
What nation ever?
I'm the protagonist.
Humans are persistence predators. I like how in 4, you're like, dude, those are just
Oh,
people.
no, those are just there. I'm sorry, reflexes.
When he's like, I killed some who are deserving, many who are not. If Atreus is ever like, how many? You'll be like, let's see. There was the entire population of Athens. Well, technically I didn't kill those people when the seas rose after I killed the god of the ocean, but I kind of had a hand in it. There were all those
He
random
had 2
screaming...
fingers in it, to
Yeah.
be specific.
Yeah. There were all those random screaming people in togas I killed on reflex because they looked enough like the zombies I was fighting to make me freak out.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my god, are you gonna catapult yourself over? Woo! Hell yeah!
They fought in mixed armies, so
No,
they had...
Athena! She manifests in your head like, dick!
And now no one's mail will show up on time.
she just turn into bees?
Yep.
But why, though?
Oh, healing god. Douches and stuff. Plagues.
Oh, because the healing god is dead. A plague is happening?
I don't know.
That sounds like bullshit.
Disease is like the inverse of a doctor, right?
Bugs are like the inverse of a doctor, right? So Hermes typically has winged sandals, so this is fine with that. And he is usually a bit of a little shit, so that even works. It's mostly that I don't think that normally manifests as a speedster.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, it's a fine interpretation.
For gameplay, I think it works.
Yeah, and God of War isn't the only ones to do that. I mean, in some DC productions, they'll have, like, Wonder Woman comment on the fact that the crew she's running with now is kind of familiar to the Greek gods, and you've got, like, Shazam, who's got lightning powers, and you've got the Flash, who's really fast and has that winged aesthetic, so God of War is not the only one to make that connection. Billie Jean is not my lover.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Don't stop till you kill the gods, Dana.
I kind of hope that in God of War 5 and later, Kratos kind of keeps having to go back for more of his, like, old gear. So they're like, Father, we'll never make it unless we can wall run. Then I must retrieve the items I never thought I would.
Nope, sorry.
No, we're just people.
I'm sorry.
This one's actually kind of important in general. How did you figure out what you wanted to major in?
That was a longer process. I wanted to be an economics major, and then I realized I didn't like that at all. And it was one snow day, because 4 years ago there was a horrendous series of snow.
It was awesome.
Everywhere, basically. And what happened was I was talking to a friend. I was saying, yeah, I'm doing this econ homework and it's totally garbage and annoying. But I'm writing this essay on the Aeneid and it's great. And she said, you need to reevaluate your life choices. And then I did.
Yeah, and I picked math major kind of out of convenience, honestly. Like, it's not the most noble reason, but like, oh, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. That's cool. But you know, I've always kind of had a leg up in math just because I started learning it really young. And when I got to college, I'd actually already had a year of math, so I was like pretty far ahead in the major. So I was just like, okay, well, if I pursue this, I'll have a major in something I like, and it'll be useful, and it'll support other stuff I like. So I'll just do the math major. And because I'd kind of gotten a head start, I could do the math major while also doing other stuff. I think that a lot of people are like, oh, choose a major that you are passionate in, and there's a lot to be said for that, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think it's also totally cool if you choose a major for like practicality purposes, because like you can pick a major and be like, this will get me a job, or you can pick a major and be like, this is something I'm already good at. It would be nice to have this level of skill in it. More important than knowing what you're majoring in is knowing why you're going to college, because like I know a lot of people go to college. Well, I especially know a lot of people who go to college just because like everyone in their family ever has gone to college, and their parents have been like, you'll go to college and you'll like it. Make me proud, and that's fine. But like, I think it's important to understand why you're there. And if you're there to learn, then it doesn't hurt to pick something that will let you learn a whole bunch of stuff. And if you're there to get a leg up in a career, it doesn't hurt to know that that's what you're doing when you walk into it. Hey, Aries.
And that's Hera. We'll kill her later.
Oh, real fantastic.
Yeah.
There's no right way to do college. I think it's just important to question, like, to make sure you know going into it what you're aiming to get out of it, and to be open to changing your mind later, because a lot of people I know went to college because they were like, I'm going to, I don't know, become the finest lawyer the world has ever seen. And then year two, they're like, you know what's really calling to my soul? Culinary school. So, you know, whatever works, man.
Oh, sirens. Right.
That's a siren?
Yeah, apparently.
Fascinating.
One of the things with college is that a lot of people are wary of changing their major partway through because you're already so invested. And to a certain degree, there's validity to the sunk cost fallacy. Yeah. Because, like, okay, fine, I have to kill her this way.
Snuggles.
I mean, there's obviously reason to be wary of changing your major in senior year because that's a lot of work that'll be done for nothing. But
and literally doesn't work.
If you're like even into sophomore year, like it's not too late to pivot. Really, freshman year you want to try to figure it out if you can. So it's it's good to. What are we doing here?
My school like
It literally has the PlayStation controls on it.
Oh my god.
God, oh my gosh. But
This looks like a puzzle room.
yeah, it is. I don't know what point I'm making with this, but it's okay to be flexible.
Yeah, it's good to have some idea of what you want, and it's good to like walk into. Oh, that's pretty clever actually, because it's not exactly the PlayStation controller; it's Greek letters. See?
Oh yeah, the square is kind of a pie.
And the triangle's a delta.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, it's good to come into it with some idea of like what you want and what you're planning on doing, but at my school, basically, everyone I knew was either certain they were going to be an econ major or a physics major, and by second year, that was just, oh my god, you're playing Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
So, continuing the theory that this is a Hercules thing. Hercules famously got frustrated and killed his music teacher because he did not like having to learn how to play the lyre.
Oh, it's out of tune, I guess. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm getting the impression you need to R1 those things back into place.
Yeah.
Most people I know went in freshman year knowing, like, positive what they were going to do, and then by second year they were like, wow, econ is terrible, or wow, physics is really hard. So there's nothing wrong with not knowing exactly what you're doing at the beginning, middle, even at the end. Basically, you need to declare a major at some point, but it's not even a disaster if you have no idea what you're going to use it for later, you know? Everyone's figuring stuff out, and anyone who says they know what they're doing is lying. Well, great. Now I can get to it even less.
Yeah, majors are tricky.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you work hard and invest the effort that people are asking, you'll get something out of it regardless.
Also, you don't need to have this shit figured out by now.
No.
I mean, we have this kind of weird idea that, like, you get everything figured out in college and then you go into the rest of your life and you've got it all set, but literally nobody knows what they're going to be doing. And even the people who think they know what they're going to be doing are usually just setting themselves up to freak out later in life.
Yep.
When they realize, like, oh no, I've been doing the same thing for X years and it's completely throwing me off. So just play it by ear, man. It doesn't work any other way.
We had a very long conversation the other day about why the classic American dream of get a desk job at the same company forever and then hate yourself, 40 years later, is not the most desirable thing.
Not appealing, no.
I think we're in the same place we were earlier.
Fantastic.
Okay, those columns
Are they the wrong
are
kind of
Corinthian, they're gilded. That has been done in Greek, but that's actually more of a Roman touch. However, a bottom red lower third thingy of the columns
Like here?
is accurate, but it's also a thing only the Romans did.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the Greeks did it too, but it was a later style. It's Hellenistic, I think.
How did you manage videos, college, personal life, and other responsibilities? Share for the kiddos still in school, please. Sad face. Time management.
One thing that made a lot of stuff click for me is that one of my friends, not angrily, but in exasperation, asked how on earth I balanced all the things I balanced. And he said, wait a minute, you don't watch TV, do you? To which I said, no, I don't. And he said, aha! I figured it out. That makes sense.
Might help, yeah.
So for what it's worth, I'm bad at watching TV.
A lot of what we would probably consider like leisure time, where you're just sitting around not doing much, most of us spend like worrying about the stuff we're not doing. You know, like, oh man, I'm taking a break from homework, but I'm just sitting here thinking about homework, so in order to distract myself from that feeling, I'll sit here for longer not doing homework, and it's kind of self-defeating. The way I would manage videos and homework is I'd basically, if it was really busy, what I would do is I'd kind of calculate how many frames per video I'd need to do per day to get it done by a certain time. And then I'd kind of set myself a reminder to be like, okay, draw this many frames. And then like throughout the day, I'd be like, oh, I've got a minute. I'll see if I can make progress on that. And that way I would be able to make steady video progress and steady like homework progress at roughly the same pace, and it worked out fine. But most of the time it was just like, what do I feel like doing? Oh, you know, I'm feeling kind of guilty about this.
Finally!
Yay!
A health boost!
Woohoo! But I'd be like, oh, I feel kind of guilty about not doing this work, so I'll do that work, and then, you know, after that, I'll be like, oh, I feel pretty good, so now I'll, I don't know, maybe work on this video, or maybe I'll script something, or maybe I'll record something, or maybe I'll go out for coffee, or I don't know. Just like, I really played it by ear. Like, there's a degree to which you have to do stuff, and you don't get to just, like, choose, oh, you know, I'm not really feeling homework today, but once you get through the stuff that, like, has to be done right this minute, you got a lot more freedom to just choose based on, like, what you're up to.
This is in
This
character.
is Hera?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, she's hella drunk.
Yep.
Hera drunk. She's pretty wiggly.
You look terrible here. Still wanting to kill my husband, I suppose?
Same Z's. You want to help? She seems really chill.
Yeah.
My secret child.
Also, I was able to spend so much time on videos on account of
Created.
created. Yeah.
It might actually be the myth thing.
Yeah.
Can't have
Didn't play a lot of video games junior and senior year. Sophomore year a little, but yeah.
Okay, Hera's perfectly in character. Are you gonna fight Argos, the guy with 100 eyes?
No.
No, that would have been perfect. He's
I'm going to
totally
fight
Hera's.
another bastard child of Zeus.
Is that? Oh.
This is not between us.
Isn't it? You were always Zeus's favorite.
No, I
Was?
wasn't.
Since when? Oh, gotta love that fan service camera angle.
Yeah.
I gotta know who voices him.
Think about it, brother. While I was stuck cleaning the audience,
It's someone
they chose
important.
you to destroy Ares.
Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo, that's right.
Where do I know that
How
guy?
about this? Soon I will become the god of war and claim the throne for myself.
Well, Kevin Sorbo has been playing only Hercules for voice acting stuff.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was also in the Superhero Squad show as some other guy.
We'll see.
Yeah, Hercules. You see, the thing is, my health bar isn't upgraded all the way yet, and Zeus is still alive, so my story does not end here.
Oh yeah, Kevin Sorbo's been playing Hercules for ages. He was Hercules in Hercules: The Legendary Journeys.
Oh my god.
It really is starting to feel like this is someone's kind of edgy self-insert fic, where they're like, Hercules is cool, but you know
Kratos is
cooler?
cooler.
Kratos, he's like Hercules, but he's way, way edgier, and
More ripped.
yeah, and he's in fact so cool that Hercules himself hates how cool he is.
Oh my god, this, yeah.
It's formatted exactly like that. He does all the cool stuff that Hercules does, but edgy and darker. What I'm saying is Kratos is ancient Greek Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh my gosh.
I stand by this statement, quote me on it. That's another trait. They took Hercules, who's usually, if not a sweet guy, at least like well-intentioned.
Well-intentioned family murdering.
Yeah, well-intentioned. Well, he didn't do that on purpose. Also, why is he teaming up with Hera on this? Hera
I
made
don't
him
know.
murder his family. Shouldn't he be super salty about that? Also, he's not wearing the Nemean lion pelt,
Nope.
which is probably why this is hurting him at all. Oh, uncomfortable.
I think those shoulder things were the closest thing I ever felt.
Okay, I really love Hera.
This is a great
super
Hera.
drunk wine mom just chilling on top of the arena.
It's like kind of New York
"Brava."
grandma.
Yeah. My son Ares was stronger than both of you. I do like the little touch on why she's actually mad at you for wanting to kill Zeus. Not because you want to kill Zeus, but because you killed Ares,
Yeah.
who is really the only legitimate son with Hera. Well, not the only legitimate son. Probably the one she's proudest of. Although, there is this slight twisted element to her characterization in that they're leaving out basically the one redeeming factor of her normal characterization, which is Hera is the god of family
Yeah.
and family units, which is why she's so mad at Zeus all the time, because he doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
So she's pitting brothers against each other. She's saying, "Murder my husband, I don't care." They could have leaned into it by making this built a lot more on the motivation of, you killed my son,
Yeah.
you destroyed my family, so whatevers, but
Boom.
actually thinking about it, Hera being the god of family means Hera forcing Heracles to kill his family is extra twisted. She's like, you don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Although, thinking about it, what this means is that Heracles was here helping the gods out during your basically Gigantomachy.
Yeah.
Which means it really was playing out according to the... Like we talked about earlier, in the Gigantomachy, Heracles is commissioned by the gods to help them fight off the giants. Not the titans, but the giants who are being sent by Gaia to attack the Olympians.
Oh yeah, I was totally saying Gigantomachy when I meant to say Titanomachy.
Well, I think
Whoops.
I think the Titanomachy is the other thing.
Yeah.
With the Gigantomachy specifically being the one with the giants attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is kind of a twisted version of that already, in that it's the Titans, not the Giants, but that's a forgivable thing to do.
Do you see how he trembles?
Hey, asshole.
What a dipshit. Oh, kidney shot though. Brutal.
Oh.
Okay. Finally, a challenge, he says, as you call him into the ground. I do like how tough he is, though.
Yeah.
Really leaning into the fact that he and Kratos are basically physical equals. Possibly with him having a slight advantage. And fuzzing the camera as he does is... Oh, that's weird.
Hercules, among the other old guard, first Trojan War Trojan heroes, is known to have been the kind of guy who actually fights by throwing giant rocks.
Well, he was a total brawler and like a full-on wrestler. Oh, that's brutal. I feel like this is the first fight that you're actually supposed to have trouble with.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hercules is Heracles is an unusual protagonist for a lot of reasons. His fatal flaw being wrath is a big one, and the fact, like I said earlier, there's a lot of Greek heroes that solve their problems through cleverness. And Heracles solves some of his problems through cleverness, but he's almost entirely just a full-on brawler, and he uses his strength to pull off his tricks. Heracles is pretty much the only Greek hero that could pull off tricking Atlas by briefly holding up the sky.
Although the way he fights, actually, he's ducking around a lot. He's
We must
grabbing.
flip the temple. Sorry, go on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's very in character for the kind of fighter that he'd be. That they're kind of playing him up as a wrestler. I actually really like that.
Well, that's not how Hercules is supposed to die. Okay. Couple precursors for how Heracles dies. When he first fights the Hydra, he takes some of its blood and coats his arrows with it. And then he has poisonous arrows, and they're very, very toxic. They basically kill anything. And then, later, when he's on wife number 3, whose name is Deianira, she gets kidnapped by a centaur, and he shoots the centaur with a poison arrow. And as the centaur is dying, the centaur tells Deianira, "Hey, BT Dubs, my blood is a total aphrodisiac, and will make your husband love you again, should you ever need such a thing." Deianira's like, "Neat, well, we're pretty in love right now, but just to be safe, I'll keep a little." So she bottles it up. And then, meanwhile, Heracles has obviously got his eyes on some other lady, so Deianira is like, "Oh, that sucks." So she takes the blood and she, like, smears the inside of one of his vests with it. Then when he puts it on, the blood just, like, burns into him. And even though he's pretty indestructible, it, like, really, really hurts. And then what he does is he basically jumps on a funeral pyre and he burns away his mortal half. And instead of dying, he becomes fully divine, which is actually pretty neat. And most other heroes don't get to do that, so. So yeah, Heracles is not really supposed to die ever. I feel like they threw this in so Kratos isn't the world's biggest a-hole all the time forever.
Well...
Oh, he's totally gonna... Yeah.
Remember how we couldn't get through that gate earlier?
Yeah? Is she gonna let you through the gate? Is she gonna die and then that'll let you through the
we'll
gate?
see.
Are you gonna have to sex her in the right order to get through the gate?
No, lady, over here.
I think she's on the other side of the gate, freaking out and yelling, "Please don't kill me, Lord Kratos! I'm oh so vulnerable!"
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fucked. Oh, she dead.
Pandora,
You did a mean thing to that lady, and I'm
Kratos.
not talking to you.
I knew you'd come back.
Oh, okay.
tell me where you are.
I hear something. He's close.
Just tell me how to find you.
The labyrinth! Find the labyrinth! Ah! Help!
Well,
Kratos!
It's so poorly done. Just
Dang it.
every aspect of this B plot is so poorly done. The acting, the animation. It's just somehow this part of the game is just miles worse.
Pandora, don't worry. I'll rescue you as I care deeply for human life.
Zeus.
Okay, so I kind of buy... Zeus! I kind of buy Hephaestus referring to Pandora as his daughter if he created her like he did, canonically. and everyone else being really disgusted by her. But that doesn't fit still because she's supposed to be gifted without by all the gods.
Is she dead?
The lady? Aw, but she's holding the door open.
Oof.
Yeah, she's dead.
Oof.
Good job, Kratos.
Yikes.
He could have grabbed any one of the zombies and jammed it in the gears instead.
Yep.
What?
It appears the servants of Olympus are dying of some sort of plague.
Because we killed Hermes. Well, it's a good thing Poseidon's dead, so he can't be really upset about what you did to his girlfriend. Yeah. It is a little fucked up for Kratos to go from like, come woman, let me mash you in the gears of this puzzle, to Pandora, where are you? I must find and rescue you for non-nefarious purposes. So is this gameplay mandatory?
No.
Yay!
Thankfully.
Well, that's...
However the cutscene is.
Kinky.
Which is, yeah.
Hey ladies, what's cracking?
I have no time for games.
Oh, this is aged so poorly.
Oh yeah.
Like, even then it was still, like, kind of icky,
I
but...
kind of heard it was like notorious at the time.
Yeah.
The only
Oh,
No,
just
and then
kidding.
back.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
No.
You men and you're not sleeping with me.
It's not the only instance of an exposed chest in this room.
Ha! Like, won't you help yourself to something from these chambers? Okay. Oh boy.
The evils of the Great War cannot easily be contained.
Yeah,
I
1919
forged
sucked.
the box in a power greater than the gods themselves.
To the point of your tweet from a little bit earlier about Percy Jackson, that they just kind of reused the myths verbatim, it's at least neat that they're making new stories out of it.
Yeah.
Because it all feels very recent of like the things Kratos did having impacts on the rest of the gods outside of just murdering Ares and Zeus's whole like insanity dealio. I just wish they did it better.
So with the dead roaming free and pretty much everything in the Greek world being absolutely terrible, this is about where we will end our eternal quest for vengeance.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I've played God of War 3 many times. What did you think of this so far?
It contextualizes a lot of God of War 4.
Yes, it does.
I like it. It's got too many buttons, and I'm not very good at it. But it's interesting, and it does interesting things with Greek mythology. It's definitely not fully accurate. Oh, I didn't even notice the screaming tortured
the
souls on either
screaming,
side.
yeah,
What a lovely
humans
set
embedded
piece
in the
this
rock.
is. Great. Parts of it are a little bit lazy, like the Hades Hell thing and the Hades Satan thing, but I mean,
feel like that's just done to maximize edginess.
yeah, I mean,
And
they have to make
this
every
game
god
hasn't
unlikable.
aged as well as I would have hoped.
Nope.
It really hasn't.
You
Like
guys
the-
aren't going to see it, but we had to cut out a whole sequence where Kratos takes a screaming naked woman and jams her into the gears of a mechanism to open a door.
Yeah, and then the sequence after that where Aphrodite is just flailing around on her bed with her
Kratos, won't
boobs
you
just
sleep
like
with me?
going every which way.
Kratos is like, lady, I'm super
mean,
busy right now.
It was edgy for its time, but now it's just tasteless. Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, so what a lovely game this was. I hope the ramblings of our extremely distracted... I can't even formulate a sentence right now.
Thanks for 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
See you at 1 million when we inevitably have no idea what to do for that one either.
God, we haven't had an idea to do it for these since 2000.
Oh,
2000,
like
yeah.
the year. I'm like, I mean, yeah.
I was definitely not doing this channel in
ripe old age of
2000.
4 years old. It wasn't a twinkle in my eye.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us for however long you stuck around, and we will see you in the next video.